No, everybody, Lois is here, you're early.
Okay, Bill. Yeah, but I am early, because I kept thinking, I don't want to be late.
Oh, no.
I know what happens when I'm late.
Five. So it starts after about the 10th one. All these are old. You just start at 24 here. Oops, fives.
Well, it's got an expiration date filed.
This is what they issued in May, on permits, 3 pages. Yeah, indeed.
I believe how many of them are from upland.
How many?
I can't believe how many are from upland.
Yeah, well, you know what's happened, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Almost $2 million estimated cost.
Where, the last page?
Yeah.
Well, you can buy a new house there on 8th Street now, you got 2 ready. Holy smoke. They built them to sell. Yeah. They'll sell them.
Bruce Sebastian, main builder of
I
the.
think.
They are actually, we've got builders in there that haven't. What's the Leeds in there, Barclays in there.
Lee, Barclay, Sebastian, those are your top 3, just on that street alone.
TK's in there, and there's a couple that are new to us, but it's because people can't find anyone to build them. That they're going outside. We had one house built by 2 subcontractors who usually help other people build a house, so they build a house by themselves.
I
And then
think
retired, and one of them has become a builder.
Come on, what?
Our building inspector.
Oh.
That's a good way to
I
retire.
think I've got
He
one
said when he was
construction
dead, he was
company over
dead.
there.
Sure enough.
I think one over there is from Kentucky, something.
So people are searching for builders right
They wanted to remodel the bathroom. Put a walk-in shower.
You voted for it?
Yeah. And the contractor said, maybe by July, maybe.
That's honestly shocking. I've seen it go past even then too.
Yeah, that's not a long lead time for bathrooms.
No.
No, I mean, you could end up with like my parents-in-law. They got it started, but the fixtures were late. 2 months. So they had a half-done bathroom for months.
Don't give me war stories now.
Better off not getting started.
Don't give me war stories like that.
Right? What time? Do you have a time? I don't have it.
It's 5.
4 till? Okay.
So it's for June, with what Taylor has done with the 14 duplexes, our estimated construction for June already is $37,130,500. If we put their duplexes in for June.
Yeah, but we don't tax them, do we?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not a tax base for us.
Oh,
That's the only bad thing. And I live right beside her. You got more money than Carter's got liver pills, buddy. Right
my
now.
sister goes to school there. I see their tuition costs.
About 42. About 42.
Yo. Well, if she quick changes her mind, it'd be a little
As an
cheaper.
independent resident, that's expensive.
Well, that's, you can go to Purdue or one of the others. Yeah. But I would say Taylor graduate certificate is worth a lot more than that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what, they come from a Christian base and they don't skip very much.
Yeah.
They don't, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I think they've dropped some.
You think your opinion?
Enrollment?
No, I think they've dropped their standards a little bit.
Oh,
They used to have really high standards to get in.
yeah.
I don't think that's the situation.
I wouldn't think so either with how much they're growing too.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get to 2,600. That was the 10-year, it wasn't a 5-year plan, it was a 10-year plan. They want to get to 2,600 kids.
Yeah.
So they're after it. Remember when the president said that, I went, I've got 1,800,
I'm
I'm
looking-
26.
Being part of the utilities, you you go 1,000 more people.
So when my wife worked there, they was right at 1820,
Yeah.
1850, and that's it. And that's all they let in, but that's all they had room.
All have room for it.
Yeah, that's all they had room. But they're building a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Wimmer Lime Service is on here twice for 130,000 accessory building. Are they building 2 buildings or is that just a duplicate entry?
Which page are you looking at?
First
First page.
about 5 down and then probably about 12 down.
There are 2 different permit dates.
Yeah, there is. Both for 130,000.
Yeah, 2 different permit numbers also.
Yeah.
I would say with them having 2 different permit numbers, they would be separate.
So you think they're building 2 buildings?
We did a stakeout on one of them.
Is
I
that
don't know whether you've done
Yeah,
that.
one says accessory building, one says ag building.
J-Trans? Or not J-Trans?
Accessory building and an ag.
Yeah, so it's 2 separate buildings.
They both could be ag buildings.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Is it the same
Oh, yeah,
address?
that's 2
Yeah, it's the same
separate.
address.
Now I know where we're at. That's 2 different ones.
Okay. We're 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Grant County Board of Zoning Appeals for June 3rd, 2024. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, can we have a roll call, please, for attendance?
Johnson?
Here.
Jones? Here. Long?
Here.
Pearson?
Here.
Young?
Here.
Hartman?
Here. And Mr. Adkins is out of town, so he won't be here. All right. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for May 6th.
I move that they be accepted as written.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. So we have a motion from Mr. Johnson and a second from Mrs. Jones.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Hartman? Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Motion passed. Next on the agenda is approval of findings of fact. Docket 03 BZA V-24 Heath Duke would be the first one.
That was the kitchen one that moved it.
He Duke was the addition by the pool.
Yes, it was a pole barn. Yeah,
Oh, this, okay, this one, okay.
we gave him a 7-foot setback.
Instead of a 0.
Yes.
Did he accept that 7?
Yes.
You accepted it? Okay. And I think we should approve it then.
Well, I think maybe we need to look at this for a minute. It says 0 here. Ordinance to allow accessory building to be 0 feet from the east property line instead of the required 25 feet. I'm not seeing where it says that we gave him a 7-foot setback, which was in the motion to approve it.
Says, Mr. Johnson made a motion for a 7-foot setback instead of the 25-foot requirement. That's on page 2.
On page 2,
Yeah, at
okay.
the bottom, look down at the bottom, it's very bottom. Motion passed.
This is your fact, so. And it's correct. Language. It's in our minutes, but not in the.
It's in the minutes, but
It's in the
not the
minutes, but it's
findings.
not in the findings.
Yeah, we need to add that to our findings then. There is a second page here. Okay. So we'll hold that one up until next month, which will probably be August. Okay, then, next findings of fact would be docket 04 BZA V24, Ryan and Amy Beagle. And we approved the kitchen. And have you issued a certificate of occupancy?
Not until they get the septic.
Septic is still
I believe
pending.
they've got the pump and all worked out.
So they actually just got their septic put in. I think they're on the schedule for later this week to get a final done.
Okay, so that's coming. All right.
Okay, then we'll hold that.
Yeah, we may want to let's hold that one till August also. Okay. No old business. Then new business. Docket 02 SPA-24, Liberty Baptist Church, 4814 West Delphi Pike, Marion, zoning district, general business. Okay. Is there a representative here from Liberty Baptist Church?
Yes.
Would you come forward, please, and sign in and give us your name?
Sign in.
There should be a sheet up there. It's coming soon. It's coming right away.
Listen, it was very busy today. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Take it. Thank you. Let's see. You want my address or the church address?
You can sign your name and just put your church address, I think is fine. There, so you're representing here.
Okay.
Did you give us your phone number in case they need to call you for
Sure.
questions? Are you the contact person on this project?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have his phone number?
He's got it, yeah.
Okay, we're good. All right, tell us a little bit about your project and why you want to do this.
We just went to upgrade our sign. We got an old signboard out there with the letters that you put on manually, and we just want to get rid of that thing and put up a much nicer sign.
Okay, I was out, looked at your sign. Is this a new sign going back in the exact same location?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Okay, I know, it's just verifying. Okay, how bright will it be at night and what hours will it operate?
I do not know how exactly to describe brightness, but I did read the county ordinance, and the company that we're buying it from assures us that it will meet the code.
Okay,
As far as hours of operation, that has not been determined.
okay. So is the brightness variable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've driven by some of those, and goodness, they about blind you if they don't turn themselves down at night.
Is there any documentation about the brightness that he has that can assure us that
I do not have any, no.
the company that you're dealing with, do they have it? Can you get it?
They do, and yes, we can get it. Okay. I don't know what you have, but all they gave us is just this
That's what we got.
little sheet right here. That's all we got from them. But yes, we can get that documentation if that is needed. But
Usually these are programmable, so that, I mean, they automatically,
Yeah, but we want to be able to say that that's what they're going to do. They are programmable instead of having to get here and then we thought it was programmable, but it's not. So we got documentation saying that it's programmable. We're good.
yeah, I don't think that is in here anywhere.
Ian,
Yeah,
is this the same church or is this a different church?
this is a different church.
Okay, that's right.
We did the one around the corner of the
Okay.
United Methodist
Okay.
Church
Okay.
already.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
What about the footer? Are you gonna tear that big footer out? It didn't look like you needed all that sign that you had. It's quite large. Are you gonna break that up?
Frankly, I'm not sure. I haven't
Well,
thought that far.
if you're gonna bring electricity to it,
Well, there's already 2 conduits run to that sign. And so
okay, I didn't see it over there.
we can mount the new sign exactly where the old one is and power it and have data running to it both.
There's concrete there. Looks like there's a,
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, there is a footer. Yeah,
how long it is, that's the old one. I didn't see no conduit in there.
And they come up within the base there.
so this is backlit, I'm assuming.
if they would pull that footer and redo it, we would have a look at it. I mean, they'll actually get a permit.
That's it, it's an old footer, but I didn't see no electricity, I guess. Okay.
Probably running up.
You could run up inside
yeah,
that.
I believe that's where it
Metal
goes is
base.
inside. Levi Biggs with Me Electric, he goes to our church and he went out and looked at it and he said, yeah, it's gonna be fine. We can mount the new sign right where the old one is and don't have to do anything.
I take it the church owns that property.
Yes.
Is that for the preacher or?
No, that's actually our office building.
Okay. I didn't get to talk to nobody there.
Is the old sign illuminated with lights?
No, let's see, there is a light that shines on it, but there are fluorescents inside, okay, yeah.
Ryan, is this the letter of opposition that's in here?
There is one letter of opposition from the neighbor, I believe, directly across the street.
And I did talk to him. I talked to Tom, and he's an elderly man, but he's worried about having to back out. And I told him that if they put the sign and put it right there, I said, I don't know about the footer, because it's big, but if you put it the same place, he's all right with that.
Yes, it's going in exactly the same place, and the new sign is actually just a touch smaller than the one that's there now.
But he's okay with that. I talked to him. So what are we gonna do about the brightness? Where we at on that?
We have a regulation in our sign ordinance on brightness.
Okay.
I mean, do we?
Yes.
Oh, do it.
Yes.
And how's that measured?
Excuse me, 153.286 regulations, C is brightness and legibility. A, no sign shall be of such intensity or brilliance as to impair the vision of a motor vehicle driver or to otherwise interfere with the driver's operation of a motor vehicle. No sign shall be, B, no sign shall be of such intensity or brilliance that it interferes with the effectiveness of an official traffic control sign, device, or signal. C, digital signs should be clear and easy to read without excessive text, colors, graphics, or other features that reduce their legibility. D, digital signs shall utilize automatic dimming technology as certified by the manufacturer to adjust the brightness of the sign relative to ambient light so that at no time shall the sign exceed a brightness level of 0.02 foot candle above ambient light. All digital signs shall contain a default mechanism that will cause the sign to revert immediately to a black screen if the sign malfunctions. And then F is the last one, digital signs shall have no sound or auditory components.
That'd be cool. Slow down. Just a thought.
I'm gonna go to church.
Yeah.
Okay, well, impair the vision of the driver. So the darker it is at night and the brighter it is going to be definitely above the ambient light in the area.
Is that 80? I don't know.
0.2 foot candles above ambient light. You know, like what the ambient light at midnight is going to be very low. It's going to be whatever lights are kind of in the area, the Dollar General sign and street lights or any other light. This is going to be a hard measurement.
Yeah.
You know.
But if they have a control on it,
Yeah.
and we give them the rule in paper,
Yeah,
Yeah, they've got it.
yeah.
you guys are.
Yes.
Then there's an automatic dimming system that'll try and keep it at that. Okay. All right.
Well, I know 18 is a very busy road.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And coming into an intersection there. Okay. All right then. All right, you may be seated, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any opposition to this petition? Okay. We'll close the public hearing at this time, and it is time for any further board discussion among the members. I got a feeling we've pretty well covered it. I'm calling for a motion then. Do we have a motion on this petition?
I'd like to make the motion that we approve it, but to make sure that they have the documents needed for the information he needs as far as the dimming and all that stuff.
Okay,
So for, for Ryan, so that way, we approve to say that.
When they come in and get a permit, we should get that
Okay.
whole.
They've already given me a copy of the rule. I've got it right here.
We'll need all that.
and so if there's a problem going
Yeah.
forward, it'll be a code enforcement situation.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
we've
All right.
done our part
Yeah.
at that point.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Mrs. Jones and a second from Mr. Johnson.
It scared me every time you said that. I was looking for my.
Now, you said Mr. Johnson?
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Gunn.
Yes.
Motion passed. You have your variance there, sir, and we thank you for coming in and doing things the right way.
Thank you.
Ready to go? That'll be good for. We'll send you some stuff.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
On a side note with that, I did meet with the town of Sweetser on the rezoning. They rezoned that property. The church actually owns the property on both sides plus behind. Sweetser is actually looking into possibly making all of that general business. Just ahead.
I know I couldn't get back to the church. I went to the school. You
Yeah.
can't get there from the school. You have to
From
go-
the front drive, you have to
Yeah,
take
you
a
have
back
to do
drive.
it.
Okay. Okay. All right then, let's see, under reports, we have the permits for last month. Is there any additional discussion or questions that the board has for the list of permits here? Is this one of the busier months?
Well, yeah, I mean, as we get through the summer, we get busier, but when we start getting into Taylor and stuff like that, where we've averaged 25 to 35 million a year, it takes one Taylor project or something that comes in at 40 million and it skews everything.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So there's around 70 here, looks like. Okay, so that's just a busy month, though.
yeah, your permit number, as you start getting these and what you've got emailed to, will have what I emailed to you will have January, February. And then each month we'll just add
Okay.
the next month to it. But your
You're
permit,
gonna catch everything up? Is that what you're saying? This year? Beyond,
those are all new permits. Those aren't existing.
okay,
So you're at your permit, we start like 2025-0001. I think you're up to maybe 266, 267. We'll end the year somewhere between 800 and 900, unless there's a big storm that comes through, and then that'll jump.
Okay. All right, then.
Where are we at on the people that are doing that building on 9? That, whatever they're doing over there on State Road 9?
You've always went in
Yeah.
front of the commissioners this morning, and the commissioners denied the rezoning. There's a falling out between Mr. Ubaldi and who was helping him do it. I believe they're no longer working together anymore. And Mr. Ubaldi did not show up to the meeting this morning. So that's, right now, that's kind of where it sits. We were waiting to find out what they wanted to do today, and then no one showed up.
Yeah, Sunday, I seen a guy there, and he was burning some of the lumber. So somebody's doing something.
They've got with IDEM Air and IDEM Environmental, and they're
Right.
working with them. I don't know what this split does,
Yeah.
but IDEM is aware and has approved what they're doing. I think, I don't know, it's, what I'm hearing is they may go and talk to Marion, so that's hearsay.
Ed,
Yes.
I think everybody should know about the JGB. There, go ahead and report that, would you? That you reported me.
The we had a project come through, it's been a bit now, J.T. Bowers, that they were going to put in townhouses in Upland. They were trying to do it on one property, and they had come in and talked to us. They, at the time with the property, they were asking for a 50% lot coverage instead of the allowed 40%. And they were asking for a 10-foot setback on the west side instead of the required 15, if I'm not mistaken. They have since bought the property beside that. One of the gentlemen who was actually hearing against it sold them the next door property, and they're tearing that house down. So now they've got 2 lots there, and they're building 6 townhouses. But with the 2 lots, everything fits, so they don't have to get various.
Off-street parking,
Yes, they've got it on, I'm trying to think of streets, but they've got it on First, they've got it down Joyce, and then they're gonna actually have parking spots on the west. But I think they need 2 per.
Is that zoned for apartments?
Yes. Yeah, they were good to go last time, other than.
R4,
I think so. That's R4, isn't it?
I think it was
I would have to look, he just emailed me last week that they were ready to tear the second house down and we're gonna come in with permitting. But that hasn't happened yet.
Well, Casa Patricia's catty-cornered from there.
Yeah. That's Taylor's now.
Yeah.
And even with that, we were talking about Taylor, the 2-3-story apartments that were across the street. Taylor's bought those, and they're looking to make those one of them long-term rentals and the other one bed and breakfast. I think they're in a demo mode right now.
And if they're gonna build that Marriott or whatever,
That is, I had a meeting with their new development director. They got another $30 million. They're looking to directly across the street. They're talking about putting in 55 and older housing, more condo type bed and breakfast, and like a hotel. They're talking Kirshner Commons about phase 2. Phase 2 with Upland has been ready to go for about 2 years, but they couldn't pay for the concrete. That's what Ron Sutherland told me. So they're looking to help with that. And there was a third thing that they were looking at doing with the additional 39.
So that'd be north of the medical center there? You're talking about across?
Yes, yeah, directly north. That property is directly north. It's gonna be like a hotel into condos, into. And then they've got, I mean, none of that is to fruition. She was coming in, introducing herself, and here's what we're looking to do. Talking to Brenda, zoning, stuff like that, and just kind of, hey, we're gonna have to work together on this, just introducing herself. Mike Kennard, I mean, we've got a really good relationship with what's going on right now. Most of those guys, we just call and they meet us and we walk through their projects with them. So that's kind of what we're looking to do with them.
thank you, I wanted you all to know that, what was happening.
Are they gonna be paying any taxes since this is under the umbrella of Taylor?
I don't believe so, but that's not right.
Yep, it's,
Oh, boy.
you gotta pay income tax, so that's about it.
And things like Kirshner Commons, some of those things that we have to help with, those are what.
Okay. There's another thing I wanted you to think about is that in our rules, we do, according to the rules, Robert's Rules of Procedure, and that's a thick book that I've done some reading in, and we don't quite follow it. Now, I looked on the internet, and there's a Robert's Rules of Order for small boards. More so fits us. It's 2 pages long, But it still has a few things in there that I think we would be a little bit uncomfortable with. One is a requirement for a board member to raise their hand before speaking and be authorized by the chair to speak.
You should have told me that, and I would raise my hand. If you referred to me.
Well, no, I'm not referring to any of you directly, since none of us do that.
None of us do.
So anyway, but what I'm saying is, we could make some modifications to that and use something similar so that we don't run afoul of not following our own rules. So at our next meeting, I'll make a note to bring that with some suggested changes, and we'll go through it. I think I'll probably just try and email it out to you. I'll mail you one, Bill.
Yeah.
And
Good.
Are we gonna need a motion for that?
we will,
Okay.
when we actually get a look at it.
Already?
No. But, another thing that I've noticed the county council does, and it's just kind of on an order of, how they do things, and that is, if someone has a motion and a second, they always open it up for public comment. Now, most of our motions and seconds come after we have a public hearing.
Yeah.
So we don't need a public comment then after a public hearing, because we've given everyone a chance to speak, either for or against. But if we pass something additionally, like we say, okay, we're going to use Robert's Rules of Order for small boards, and we make a motion, a second, before we go to take a vote, we should always open that up for just any public comment. A lot of times there probably won't be, but there might be, and I just, in our open government, I want to give a chance in case someone wants to address an issue. So,
But there would still be an argument, no matter what. If you're against it, you're still going to argue whether you have Roberts or Johnson's rules.
yes,
You're going to argue with them. That's the way it goes. We're in America. That's what happened.
yes,
Roberts was in England. He didn't know.
yeah. And with this set of rules, it's concise enough that we can just pull it out
Okay.
and see. Okay?
That's the way I feel about it. I don't think we're that far off.
We're not, but, since I have to administer the rules, that book is very thick, and I've only gone through parts of it that I thought applied to us. And on the spur of making a meeting and trying to delve into that book and find a passage, that's unlikely. But with a 2-page system, I think we can easily manage that and stay within the rules. So anyway, next month, August, not next month, we usually don't meet in July unless there's a special need. Yeah, if we have several people wanting permits, we may call a special meeting so that they don't have to wait 2 months. Which we've done that one time since we said we would do it. Okay.
But in the 15 or 16 years, that's the only time that it's happened. So,
Okay. So anyway, it may not happen again this year, but our next meeting then is August. Now, also, at this time, do we have any other reports from the office? Okay. And do we have anything from the public? Do we have any public comment for today? Now's the time. Mr. Schultz, please come to the podium.
Well, I'm still frustrated with what happened in your January meeting, because my wife and I were never given a certified letter. At the last meeting, I got a copy of the barcode that said a certified letter was sent to Fairmount, Indiana, to my wife and I. I didn't get the copy of the letter to see when it was returned or what happened with it. But I went to the post office, or my wife did, and we found out that that barcode had never went through the post office. It never done it, none of the proper channels. Now, the first meeting, way back in September or whatever, we didn't receive a letter. We just happened to find out about it. And we came to that meeting and protested it. I've been here protesting all along, different situations. I did not know in the January meeting that Mrs. Craig was coming in to get her variance, because I didn't get a letter, which was promised to me I would get certified mail. I did not get it. I'm so frustrated and tired of all the falsehoods and lies that come from Mr. Lott's office to the town of Fairmount, to different people. Randy Miller did not go over there and survey that. And I got the surveys that was changed, that was re-recorded in September. Mine was recorded 7 days after Mrs. Craig's was recorded. We paid Randy Miller to survey the alley also. When my new amendment came through, it still shows her house or her deck still either over the property line or on the property line. Now, how? Everybody in here knows you can't pick up a 100-year-old house and move the damn thing 6 inches to change your property line. A survey is a survey that's been there forever. These surveys go back. Everybody, you know, all I hear is, well, we have to depend on what our director, or Mr. Lott says. We found time and time again that it's not the truth. He's not telling the truth to everybody, and it changes to every damn body, every person he talks to.
You gotta watch your mouth.
I corrected it, I apologize. I apologize for that. But we can't continue to get falsehoods and people to, you're officials. You have to go with the rules and what you're told. But if you're told something that's false, it can't be a proven fact. Now, there was a letter that Mr. Lott sent to the town of Fairmount September the 21st, before their September 25th meeting, that says him, Nicole Bailey, and Randy Miller met over there and checked that property out again. I contacted Randy Miller and he said, I never went over there. I never met with them over there. And I've got a camera over there that shows that nobody from Randy Miller's office was ever there. And it wasn't until the morning of the 25th that Mr. Lott and Nicole Bailey went over there with a little wheel, and they're all, don't know where the survey stakes are at or what it is, until they're measuring off. Then, the next morning, after the town has their meeting, he meets with Ryan Gossett and somebody else from the town, and they're driving stakes in. There's no surveyor. They're putting stakes in the ground, and they said that my boulders were over the property line. They were not over the property line. And they gave that to the town of Fairmount, so the town of Fairmount moved their boulders. So now, after this, all these surveys come back, and it still shows my alley's 10 foot wide. Part of her property is either over the property line or on top of the property line, and it can't be. It should have had some type of variance setback. It can't be zero setback if it's not when they knew going in. Now, my wife and I were told several times that that porch was over the property line, they would make them take it down. They didn't make them take the steps down that were 2.5 feet into the property line until the 26th, September the 26th. I was in the hospital at that time. It's neither here or there with medical issues. All this transpired from then, September the 23rd and 24th through then, and all this other stuff. I've got copies of recorded deeds, and it's falsehood. And I'm still frustrated that the BZA board, and like I said, my wife and I have been here, or I've been here several meetings talking with concern about that particular property all along since last April, March or April. And then to sneak a meeting in that I didn't even get notified that you was going to have a meeting to allow a variance or approve a variance. Something's wrong with this picture. Something's totally wrong with it. I mean, Mrs. Jones knows I've been here several times. Mr. Pearson knows I've been here. Mr. Long knows I've been here several times. Mr. Young, Mr. Hart. It's just been a continuation of shove me around, shove my wife and I around for somebody for the town of Fairmount. And it's not right. It's illegal. It's wrong.
What are you looking for?
What am I looking for? I'm looking to get reimbursed. I didn't want to put a fence up on that property to start with, but I had to stop the contractor from driving on my lot. Then as soon as I start putting a fence up, Mr. Malott goes over and puts a stop order on it and tells me I can't put my fence up on my property line. They let her go ahead and work on hers, knowing her steps and stuff is 2 foot into the alley, but that's okay. All I'm doing is putting a fence up to protect my property line. Then, when they put the stop order on it and shoves us around a little bit more, we'll go buy boulders to put on the property line. And then, in September, they go over, Mr. Malott, and somebody from the town of Fairmount, not a surveyor, goes over and decides where to put a stake. I've got pictures of them driving a stake and stretching and saying that my boulders are over the property line. Now, I've got so darn much money tied up in this just to protect my property over there instead of, and Mr. Malott asked me one time, well, what do you want? I want my property. I want the property that we purchased, and I don't want to be shoved around and let people drive their trucks on it, drive scissor lifts and genie booms and everything else on our property line. I tried to be nice, and I just put stuff down the alley line, just some flags and some tape and stuff. All they did is run over it and push it over out of the road, and keep running over it. Nobody will do anything. Nobody did a thing. What I think needs, my personal opinion, an outside surveyor needs to go over and measure that property line and find out just exactly what's going on. There's too many people entwined with this thing. Mr. Malott talks to Randy Miller all the time. He talks to Kyle Persinger, Craig Persinger, David Glickfield. All these names are thrown out in these emails to different people. Well, I talked to this person and he said, Mr. Schultz will be notified he's got to do something. Nobody ever notifies me to do anything. The town did send me a certified letter, but the first letter was never delivered. The second
You did get a
letter came
certified
back.
letter from the town.
Huh?
You did get a certified letter from the town at Fairmount.
The town of Fairmount told me that my boulders was over the property line. And the only reason they knew the boulders were over the property line was because of him. That's the letter the certified letter from the town of Fairmount. Him and Ryan Gossett stretching lines.
No,
Yes, it is.
I don't believe it.
Is there,
It's a fact.
is there, like you said, an independent surveyor that can prove, once they measure that, this could be easily resolved that way, because he could say, you know, if that's the right property line. If he had,
I mean,
You know, and somebody's gonna have to pay for that, because it's really not fair to him to have to pay for
My wife and I paid $3,500 for a
Yeah.
survey that should have cost us $1,500.
it. That's what I'm saying,
The
that.
town of Fairmount paid $2,500 to get the alley survey, just the alley. I had the whole our property and the alley survey.
And that,
And then afterwards, I find out that there's some changes or some calls made, that somebody needs to help some person out. Not us, but the town of Fairmount has 10-foot alleys. They've all been plotted 10-foot alleys since way back when. They have no easement, no right of way.
And they have very crooked alleys. There's not a straight alley in Fairmount.
I understand that.
And I don't know how we can tell that your alley is nice and straight when that thing went like this around trees.
Well, I didn't plant the trees. And for the alley to encroach on our property has nothing to do with where the property line's at. Now, my property line has always been where it's at. And for them to drive on my property, whether the trees are encroaching into their alley or not, has nothing to do with my property. Nothing.
Sounds like you gotta talk to Fairmount. We've already ruled. We've already made them rules. You need to talk to Fairmount.
but I feel like in his case, we were just ruling on the information that was given to us.
Yeah.
So, you know, like he said, if we weren't given the right information, then, you know,
It's just
we
like-
just ruled on what we got from Ryan.
It's just like I was told I had, that they mailed me a certified letter. Now I find out that the certified letter never went to the post office. It never went through the system. So, yeah, you're right. I need to talk to the town of Fairmount. I need to talk to different people to try to figure out why this happened, why it was allowed to happen, and why it's been my burden of responsibility to try to fight this all the way through, because I couldn't get the contractor to stop driving on my property. I tried to put my fence up on my property line, which had nothing to do with the alley, but it was my property line. It's still my property line, regardless of whether the town's got their 10-foot alley or not. My property, all the alleys were plotted at 10-foot straight line just because people encroached in them and started putting buildings on them and put trees in the alley, and everything else has nothing to do with my personal property line over there. My property line is my deed. I mean,
I still say you got Fairmount.
well,
Yeah, well,
but you guys,
at this point, you have your property line established and you have your fence on it and your property is intact. The trees have been cut down in the alley by, I guess, the town of Fairmount, and the alley is reestablished. The only question in your mind is, how did we have to go through all this and put you through all this to get to the point of where your property was established correctly?
well, and then the untrue statements that the house moved or something happened, then me not getting a certified letter has everything to do with it, because I would have been here at the January meeting. I would have been here. I came to the APC meeting that night because Randy Atkins took over as the president that night. I came to the APC meeting, but I didn't come to the BZA meeting because I didn't know that was transpiring. Had I had a letter, I would have been here. I mean,
What does the office have to say about the letter?
That is what Brenda gave me, that she said, and I would remind, Mr. Schultz, that the meeting was continued in December, and in the meeting, it was announced that we would be dealing with it in January. You were here for the December meeting. You got out and spoke.
no, Mr. Craig's property was not announced to be continued to January meeting. Mr. Craig's property was not announced to be going through the January meeting. No,
We continued the variance for the 0 line setback. It was continued in the meeting
Well, it was continued in the September meeting.
in September.
Yeah. I'd have to review December's meeting. I didn't look at December's meeting for that specific.
That's what Mr. Schultz was
Discussion.
talking about, the variance.
Yeah, the variance did come up in the January meeting because we had a survey that showed the house on it. And it showed that Randy Miller had re-recorded it. And so at that point, we thought we were ready to go ahead with the 0 setback. Because his new survey showed that the corner of the house was right to the line, but not over it. His previous survey and his previous testimony before the Fairmount Town Board was that her house addition was in the alley by a few inches. I happened to attend that Fairmount Town Board meeting and remember it very clearly. Why he later decided that he needed to go resurvey and recheck and change his survey, I can't say.
Look at this. Was filed September the 21st. That is a Graves property. Still showing the alley and everything, but it's showing this. Now, in September the September 28th, here's what was recorded for me, and still shows the house and the deck as the property line. So what's right and what's wrong? Which one's the latest? That one was September 28th.
They took out the steps.
Took out the steps,
Yes.
because it was over.
The steps was 2
Steps are
feet
gone.
into the alley, yes. Now, the situation as the BZA is concerned is that your property is correct and intact. Her property, according to the information we were given, we ruled that there would be a 0 setback and we granted that variance based on the 0 setback. Now, because there's an alley in between your two properties, her house is not on your property. So
But if she's gonna get part of that alley, we should get part of that alley.
well, that's an interesting topic for the Fairmount town, I think, to discuss, but not us. I think, I think it's unfortunate that we're in a spot and that if you could have been here in January, you could have had your say prior to this board ruling. But at this point, I don't see exactly what the BZA can do. You do have recourse. You say you're out money. You could file a case. I'm not urging you to sue. I don't think it's worth it to you, but that's your choice. That's your freedom to do that. But I don't think we have anything else to do. On behalf of the office, we do apologize that you did not get notice of the January meeting.
On behalf of the office, apologize for letting something slide through the cracks.
Okay, is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion that we adjourn.
You raise your hand?
I'd like to do that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, thank you.
Inspector, what What's that? I'm looking for another inspector. That was on my,
Oh, that was on your thing there?
it was just maintenance.
I believe there is an effort to get a part-time building inspector to help get us caught up on
Oh,
permits.
is that what you said, that we were gonna get the guy?
Yeah, I
That's
talked to
area plan.
Kyle